Happiness is not a reward you earn after the war. It's a habit you practice during the battle. It's not something you stumble into when life cooperates. It's something you choose when life resists. We've made happiness conditional. We've said, I'll be happy when the bills are paid, when the relationship is healed, when the fear is gone, when the pressure lifts. But what if none of that changes for a while? Do you really want to hand over your joy to a timeline you don't even control? Because if you keep waiting for a reason to smile, the enemy will always give you 10 reasons not to. If you keep waiting for peace to show up externally, you'll miss the invitation to find it internally. Happiness was never meant to be circumstantial. It was always meant to be spiritual. You don't drift into happiness by accident. You have to build it. You have to train for it. You have to decide, I don't care what today looks like. I'm walking in joy anyway. You have to wake up and make it part of your rhythm, part of your mindset, not something you visit on weekends or vacations, but something you wake up and wear like armor because life doesn't care about your mood. The world doesn't pause because you're overwhelmed. So you have to anchor your joy in something deeper than convenience, and you know what I've learned. That kind of happiness, the kind that sings even when the room is silent, the kind that holds on when everything's falling apart, it only comes when you stop treating it like a trophy and start treating it like a tool. Happiness is a spiritual weapon. It's a decision to defy fear. It's a refusal to let circumstances write the final word on your emotions. It's when you look at a hard day and say, you will not steal my joy. You can stretch me, but you won't break me. You can press me, but I will not fold. You don't have to fake it. This isn't about pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about deciding that everything doesn't have to be fine for you to be. It's about living above the chaos, not by ignoring it, but by refusing to let it take root in your heart. And you build that kind of strength in the repetition, in the daily choices, in the small, sacred moments when nobody else sees you saying, God, I trust you anyway. When you're still grateful even when you're grieving. When you praise even when you're perplexed. That's not weakness. That's holy defiance. That's faith in motion. If happiness is a habit, then the question becomes, what are your habits? Because your patterns are preaching to your emotions every single day. If your morning starts with anxiety, comparison, and checking what everyone else is doing, don't be surprised when your joy feels unstable. But if your day begins with gratitude, presence, and speaking life over your situation, you'll be shocked at how much lighter your soul begins to feel. The battle isn't always with what's happening around you. Most of the time, it's what's being rehearsed inside you. Happiness doesn't make you irresponsible. It doesn't make you naive. It makes you resilient. It says, I see the problems, I feel the pressure, I hear the noise, but I refuse to let that be louder than my purpose. A happiness isn't about having no pain. It's about not being owned by pain. It's about knowing who you are and whose you are, and letting that truth be louder than your triggers. So if you want to be happy every day, stop asking for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for people to validate your worth. Stop letting your past decide how much joy you're allowed to have. Start practicing the habit. Start building the rhythm. Get good at celebrating progress. Get obsessed with small wins. Get serious about your peace. Don't let it be optional anymore. Make joy your job. Make peace your priority. Make happiness your baseline, not your bonus. Because at the end of the day, the difference between people who live in joy and people who only visit it isn't luck, it's repetition, it's alignment, it's waking up with a decision that says, no matter what today throws at me, I will not surrender my joy. And when you do that day after day after day, happiness doesn't just visit, it moves in and it changes everything. Gratitude doesn't wait for things to be perfect. Gratitude shows up in the middle of the mess and says, even here, I can find something good. And if you can find something good, you can hold on to joy. That's the secret nobody tells you. Joy doesn't grow in what you lack. Joy grows in what you learn to notice. Because the moment you open your eyes to what you do have, you break the lie that says you're always one step away from happiness. You don't need more to be joyful. You need to see more of what's already yours. It's not that your life is too hard to be happy. It's that your heart might have gotten too distracted to be grateful. And if the enemy can distract your gratitude, he can disconnect your joy. You'll start believing there's nothing to smile about, nothing worth waking up for, nothing beautiful left in your day, but that's a lie. There's always something, the breath in your lungs, the roof over your head, the strength to fight another day. Those aren't small things. They're miracles in motion. And the more you start to thank God for what you already have, the more joy you'll find in places you never expected. Gratitude isn't just saying thank you. It's training your perspective. It's an act of war against bitterness. It It rewires your soul to focus on what's right instead of being imprisoned by what's wrong. You can't be grateful and miserable at the same time. Try it. Try being thankful for your life and angry about it in the same breath. You can't? That's the power of gratitude. It cuts through heaviness. It interrupts anxiety. It heals what fear has broken, and it does it not by changing your situation, but by changing how you see your situation. Some of us keep thinking that if life changes, then we'll feel joy, but God is waiting for us to change how we see life, and then we'll discover that joy was closer than we realized. You want joy? Start noticing what hasn't left you. Start praising God for what He's still holding together. Gratitude doesn't just count blessings, it multiplies them, because when you thank Him for what's little, He trusts you with what's greater. When you stop complaining about what's missing, you start living in the overflow of what's present. And yes, there are real wounds, real heartbreaks, things that didn't go the way you hoped, but gratitude doesn't ignore pain. It just refuses to give pain the final say. Gratitude says, this was hard, but I'm still here. This hurt, but it didn't take me out. This storm came, but it didn't drown me. That's not pretending, that's perspective. That's declaring that God's goodness is bigger than life's setbacks. It's learning to smile, not because everything is perfect, but because grace is still active. Gratitude shifts your energy, it transforms your relationships, it softens your heart. Some of us are carrying bitterness we don't even realize because we've stopped remembering what's beautiful, and the longer you go without gratitude, the heavier your spirit becomes. But the moment you pause, even just for a breath, and say, God, thank you, everything shifts. The room feels different, your mood shifts, your strength comes back. Not because life is suddenly easier, but because you remembered that joy isn't found in the external. It's built from the internal. You can have peace in the pressure. You can laugh even when you're still waiting on breakthrough. You can feel whole even if you're still healing. And the shortcut to that kind of joy isn't found in a new location, a new person, or a new season. It's found in the ancient power of thankfulness. So today, stop scrolling for happiness and start seeing it. Look around. Who's in your corner? Who showed up for you? What didn't fall apart? What stayed steady when everything else was shaking? Because the minute you start recognizing the good, joy comes rushing in like it never left, and the more you focus on what's working, the less power you give to what's not. Some of you are one gratitude session away from a peace you've been praying for. Not because your life will change overnight, but because you will, your spirit will rise, your heart will open, your joy will unlock, all from 2 words, thank you. Don't wait for everything to feel good before you start giving thanks. Gratitude is what makes things feel good. It's the shortcut, the accelerator, the bridge between chaos and peace. You want to be happy every day. Don't chase a better day. Start thanking God for this one. Gratitude will meet you where you are. Lift your eyes, open your heart, and remind you that joy was never far away. It was waiting inside your thankfulness all along. We often search for joy in big moments, expecting happiness to come only after some massive breakthrough or change in circumstances. But what if I told you the fastest, most sure way to experience joy is right now, in this very moment, and it's found in gratitude? Gratitude is not just good manners or a polite thank you. Gratitude is a spiritual weapon, a mindset, and the shortest path to unlocking deep, lasting joy, no matter what your life looks like on the outside. Joy doesn't depend on having everything perfect. It doesn't wait until all the bills are paid or the relationships are healed. Joy is not tied to achievements or the applause of others. It's not waiting for the right time or the right season. The moment you start practicing gratitude, really noticing and appreciating what you already have, joy begins to flood your soul. It's like flipping a switch inside you. Suddenly, your view of life changes and even the ordinary moments shine with light. You see, when we focus on what's missing, on what's wrong, on the struggles and setbacks, we train our minds and hearts to expect disappointment. We become blind to the blessings right in front of us, but gratitude pulls back the curtain. It forces us to open our eyes to the goodness surrounding us. It rewires our brains to look for the light even in the darkest places. Gratitude tells your heart, you have enough, you are enough, there is enough. The enemy wants you stuck in complaining, bitterness, and discontent because that keeps you bound. But gratitude breaks chains. It's the key that unlocks joy and peace in your heart. When you start thanking God for what you do have, your breath, your family, your strength to get through today, you send a powerful message to your spirit. I trust you even when I don't understand. I see your hand even when I don't see the whole plan. That trust grows into joy. And here's the thing. Gratitude doesn't ignore pain or hardship. It doesn't pretend that everything is fine. It acknowledges the storm but chooses to focus on the anchor that holds firm underneath it all. You can be grateful for lessons learned in suffering. You can be thankful for the strength built in adversity. You can praise God even in your valley because you know He's walking with you through it. Gratitude doesn't erase the difficulty. It transforms your relationship to it. This practice of gratitude isn't just for Sundays or special occasions. It's a daily, even moment-by-moment decision. It's when you wake up and say, "Today, I will find something to be thankful for, no matter how small." It's when you choose to see the cup as half full rather than half empty. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Gratitude becomes a lens through which you view the world, and suddenly, joy isn't a rare visitor but a constant companion. Think about it. What if every complaint was replaced by a prayer of thanks? What if every moment of frustration turned into a moment of reflection on the good? Your heart would change. Your outlook would change. Your joy would explode. Gratitude is that powerful. It rewires your emotions and rewrites your story. You don't have to wait for a big blessing or a perfect moment to be joyful. The secret is already in your hands, the ability to say thank you. And when you do, joy finds its way to your doorstep, even on days when everything else feels broken. Gratitude is the shortcut to joy because it cuts through the noise of life's chaos and centers you on what truly matters. So today, make the decision to start this habit. Notice the little things, the morning sunlight, the kindness of a stranger, the strength to breathe and keep going. Let gratitude fill your heart until joy becomes the natural overflow. Remember, joy isn't found in the absence of struggle, but in the presence of thankfulness. You want to be happy every day, then start by being grateful every day, because gratitude doesn't just make you happy, it is the path to joy. It's the key to unlocking a heart that can dance in the storm and sing in the silence. Gratitude will meet you where you are and carry you to a place of peace and joy beyond what you thought possible. We live in a world that's constantly asking us to wait. Wait for the weekend, wait for the promotion, wait for the kids to grow up, wait for the relationship to improve, wait for the perfect moment to start living. But here's the truth that many never hear. You can't borrow joy from tomorrow. Joy is not on layaway. It's not something you can put off until conditions are just right. If you don't find joy today, you won't have it waiting for you when tomorrow arrives. Joy is not a debt you can pay later. It's a gift you can only unwrap in the present. We have this habit of postponing our happiness, thinking it's a reward for reaching some milestone, some future success. I'll be happy when, but what if tomorrow doesn't come the way you expect? What if the opportunity never shows up? What if the perfect moment keeps slipping further and further away? When you borrow joy from tomorrow, you put your peace, your light, and your hope in a holding pattern. And that's a dangerous place to live, because joy doesn't come by waiting, joy comes by choosing. You can't spend what you don't have, and you can't live on the joy of a day that hasn't arrived. Every day you wait to be happy, you're stealing moments from your life that will never come back. Every day you say, "I'll be happy later," you're robbing yourself of the blessings right in front of you. Joy isn't about circumstances lining up, it's about deciding right now to walk in the light, even if the road is dark. When you think about joy like a future payday, you give power to everything that hasn't happened yet, the unknown, the fear, the what-ifs. You make your peace dependent on a script you don't control. But what if you could write your own script? What if joy could start with a choice, with a step, with a prayer that says, "I'm not waiting anymore. I'm living joy today." That's not denial, that's courage. That's faith. You see, joy is a discipline, not a circumstance. It's a muscle you have to train, not a prize you wait to receive. You build it by practicing gratitude in the middle of chaos, by choosing hope when everything inside screams despair, by praising when you don't feel like it. Joy is what happens when you say no to postponing your peace and yes to embracing it, right now. And that kind of joy changes everything. It's the difference between surviving and thriving. Imagine if the happiest people you know weren't waiting for more, but were celebrating what was already there. They weren't waiting for the storm to pass, they were learning to dance in the rain, because joy doesn't wait for a perfect day. Joy doesn't borrow from the future. It rises from a heart that refuses to wait for permission to be happy. It's a fire that burns bright not because life is easy, but because they chose to light it. And here's the beautiful paradox: when you stop borrowing joy from tomorrow and start living it today, tomorrow often becomes brighter. When you anchor your joy in the present, you're better equipped to face challenges. You face the future not with fear but with faith. You don't just survive the hard days, you transform them. You don't just wait for change, you become the change. This is not a one-time decision, it's a daily commitment. Some mornings, you'll wake up tired, discouraged, maybe even broken. But the choice is still yours. You can decide to carry yesterday's burdens, or you can decide to start fresh with joy in your heart. You can decide to let worry steal your peace, or you can choose to trust that joy is bigger than your fears. The choice to live joyfully today is a radical act of faith. You can't borrow joy from tomorrow, but you can give joy to today. You can unwrap the gift that's been sitting there all along, the gift of presence, of hope, of gratitude. You can let go of the illusion that happiness is waiting for you somewhere else and embrace the truth that joy is available in this moment, no matter how small or ordinary it feels. So stop waiting, stop promising yourself happiness later, stop allowing your life to be a countdown to some future reward. Choose joy now, choose it fiercely, choose it with every breath, every step, every heartbeat, because joy isn't a debt you owe the future, it's the treasure of the present, and when you make that choice, your life changes, your relationships change, your perspective changes. You stop chasing after a dream that may never come and start living the reality that God has already given you. A life filled with enough reasons to be joyful right now. We live in a culture that tells us to take control, to plan harder, push further, and never let go. We're taught that peace comes from mastering every detail, holding every string tight, and never letting the unexpected catch us off guard. But the truth is, peace is rarely found in control. Real peace comes in surrender, the kind of surrender that's not about giving up, but about giving over. It's about handing your worries, your fears, and your need to fix everything straight to the one who holds the whole universe in his hands. When you try to control every part of your life, what happens? You exhaust yourself. You wear your soul thin chasing outcomes you can't guarantee. You fight battles that were never yours to fight, and the harder you grip, the more peace slips through your fingers like water. Control becomes a prison, trapping you in anxiety, frustration, and endless what-ifs. The more you try to steer the ship, the more it feels like you're sinking in stormy seas. But surrender, real surrender, is the path to peace. It's a radical act of faith that says, I don't have to have it all figured out. I don't have to carry this burden alone. I trust that God's got this even when I don't understand. Surrender isn't weakness, it's strength wrapped in humility. It's the courage to stop fighting the impossible and start resting in the possible. The power and grace of God working in your life. Peace comes when you stop trying to control your future and start trusting God with it. Peace comes when you stop trying to control other people and start praying for them instead. Peace comes when you stop controlling the outcome and start controlling your response, choosing faith over fear, hope over worry. That kind of peace isn't dependent on your circumstances. It's anchored in the unchanging presence of God. So often we confuse surrender with defeat. We think surrender means we've lost, but surrender is the greatest victory you can win. It's the moment you stop running on empty and start running on grace. When you surrender control, you open your hands to receive peace, a peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that guards your heart and mind in ways control never could. There's freedom in letting go, freedom from the endless cycle of stress and striving, freedom to live fully in the present moment instead of being chained to worries about what might happen. When you surrender, you step out of the exhausting game of trying to make everything perfect and step into the peace of God's perfect plan. Peace is not passive, it's active trust. It's choosing daily to release your grip on what you can't change and hold tightly to what you can. Your faith, your prayers, your hope. It's waking up every morning and saying, God, I don't have all the answers, but I have you. I surrender my plans, my fears, my control, and I rest in your peace. Surrender means admitting that you're not in charge, and that's not scary, it's liberating. When you stop carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, you find rest. When you stop trying to force doors open, you find God's perfect timing. When you stop trying to fix what only He can fix, you find healing and peace. Peace flows like a river through a surrendered heart. It's a deep, steady calm that no circumstance can shake. It's the kind of peace that allows you to smile in the storm, to find joy in the waiting, and to trust even when the way is unclear. You can spend your whole life trying to control things that are beyond your reach, or you can surrender today and step into the peace that's been waiting for you all along. Surrender isn't giving up on your dreams, it's giving up your need to control how those dreams happen. It's choosing faith over fear, grace over grind, rest over relentless striving. So today, make the choice to surrender, not because you have to, but because you want to. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Because peace is not found in your hands holding tight, but in your heart letting go. Every day we are bombarded by voices, some loud, some quiet, some from the outside world, others from inside our own minds. The people we choose to listen to shape the soundtrack of our lives, influencing how we think, how we feel, and ultimately who we become. The truth is, who you listen to determines what you feel. It's not just about the words themselves, but about the power those words have to mold your emotions and shape your reality. Think about it. When you surround yourself with voices of encouragement, love, and hope, your heart feels lighter, your mind clearer, and your spirit stronger. When you listen to people who believe in you, challenge you to grow, and remind you of your worth, you begin to internalize those messages. You start to see yourself the way they see you, full of potential, worthy of joy, capable of overcoming anything. On the other hand, when you allow voices filled with doubt, negativity, and criticism to dominate your inner world, your feelings shift accordingly. Fear, insecurity, and sadness start creeping in. You begin to question yourself, your choices, your path. That's the danger of who you listen to. The wrong voices can steal your peace and replace it with anxiety and self-doubt. But here's the powerful truth: you have a choice. You don't have to accept every voice that tries to speak into your life. You can choose who you listen to, and by doing so, you can shape your feelings and your future. You can tune out the noise that drags you down and tune into the voices that lift you up. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means being intentional about the messages you allow to influence your heart and mind. It means seeking out voices that bring wisdom, compassion, and faith into your life. Voices that remind you of your value, your strength, and your purpose. And it's not just the voices around you, it's also the voice inside your head. Your self-talk is one of the most powerful influences on your feelings. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not enough, I can't do this, or I'll never be happy," those lies become your reality. But if you choose to speak words of encouragement, kindness, and hope to yourself, you begin to change your emotional landscape. You train your mind to focus on possibilities instead of problems, on growth instead of failure. Who you listen to also determines your reaction to life's challenges. When a storm comes, and it will, you will either hear voices of defeat and despair, or voices of resilience and hope. The voices you choose will either crush your spirit or build it up. You get to decide which voices have the microphone in your life. So, guard your heart by guarding your ears. Protect your feelings by protecting what you listen to. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and bring light into your days. Read books, watch shows, listen to music, and follow leaders who speak life and truth. Reject the voices that tear down, that sow fear, that keep you stuck in negativity. Remember, feelings aren't random, they are responses to what we absorb. By choosing your sources wisely, you take control over how you feel. And that's a powerful step toward being happy every day. Today, make a commitment to listen carefully, not just to the world, but to your own heart. Choose voices that breathe life into you, that remind you who you really are, and that help you walk boldly into your joy. Because at the end of the day, who you listen to doesn't just determine what you feel, it determines who you become.